can. But I do think, like, truly, and I mean, y'all correct me by all means if you think I'm wrong. It is a year and a half later, and when you walk into someone's home and they're sitting on the floor, and then the reality of, like, you're like, well, do you need help? And they're like, there's people that need it more than me. I think it's really impacting you. And these are people that are your neighbors. I mean, like, I went into someone's home literally a mile from my home that I kind of knew through a friend, and I'm like, hey, are you getting furniture? She's like, well, no, but we didn't want to ask because, like, so many people need so much more, and we've already received some help. And I'm like, we can help you, and I say that real boldly because I don't really always know how that's going to happen. But I mean, we have been like, the answer is yes, and we don't know how or why, but the answer is going to be yes. I feel like it's just what we're called to do. I also think being so far out, the impact on kids and the families, just financially, that stress is huge. I mean, the 3 calls I've gotten this week are all $20,000 to $30,000 in debt because of having to repair their home, even with help. And so they need basic things. Moving them back in is just part of the battle. Like getting the sheetrock and walls, we thought was going to be the total win. What we found was they would move back in and they only had sheetrock and walls. I mean, so we were like, oh, they don't have any kitchen dishes. They have no towels, no linens, no blinds or curtains. One of the families we went to had sheets just randomly that they had gone to Goodwill. They literally just went up and got and they would push pin them on. And it just never even occurred to us because we were so focused on getting this bigger task done, but then you get down to it and you're like, wow, they don't have a coffee maker. I mean, they don't have coffee cups and then a spoon to stir it with. And so, I mean, I always tell people, walk through your kitchen one day and like just make a mental note of every single thing you touch to make one meal. And you would be, they have none of those. I mean, that's probably 20 things that you touch: a spoon, a fork, a knife, a cutting board, a measuring cup, none of that. So, and same with like, even like this was kind of where I was so convicted, I feel like, and I really was like, we have to keep doing this. I came in one day after being in a home and I was filthy, and I remember I was like, I just need to get in the shower. And as I walked through my bathroom, this gal called and said, any chance I could get a hairdryer? And I was like, a hairdryer? And I was like, sure, I can bring in my hairdryer. And she was like, it was kind of a weird request, but she was starting a new job the next day and she didn't have a hairdryer. And she said, I don't have any of the things that were under my sink that I would normally, my everyday things. So I said, well, like, do you have a brush? And she's like, well, I bought a brush, but I just couldn't justify buying a hairdryer. And I was like, I will get you a hairdryer. And I will but I opened the bottom of my sink at that moment and looked at all the junk I have under there and just things I use all the time but don't even think about. And I thought, shouldn't have any of this. I mean, shouldn't have a cotton swab, shouldn't have, shampoo, none. Everything was beginning again. So I think that's and maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the kind of mentioned and undervalued things. People don't realize, like, it's so much already getting them in, but then you get them in and you're like, they don't have sheets for their bed. I mean, they don't have a bed. So we're coordinating that and we're constantly dealing with that. So